The Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies series are home to some of the most iconic Halloween and horror-inspired cartoons. However, most of them, in true Looney style, take an entirely comedic spin. That said, there are a handful of these cartoons that feature some legitimately scary, creepy, and disturbing plotlines and imagery. And just in time for Halloween, I've pulled together the top 10 scariest Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoons, and have ranked them by their level of scariness. To qualify for this list, the cartoons had to be released during the classic era of Warner Brothers animation between the 1930s and 1960s, and had to be created specifically as a 7-minute short, and not part of a special compilation. That means 80s and 90s classics like The Duxorcist and Invasion of the Bunny Snatchers do not count. In true Looney style, this video is of course a tongue-in-cheek piece of fun, so don't take it too seriously. Without further ado, here's my ranking of the top 10 scariest classic Looney Tunes cartoons. Let's get into it! Kicking us off at number 10, Bye Bluebeard. Porky finds himself in the clutches of Bluebeard, a maniacal, dangerous criminal. While initially confusing a pesky rodent for the killer, making for some great laughs, the real Bluebeard, a 6'11" tall wolf, soon appears and flips the cartoon on its head. Capturing Porky, Bluebeard first attaches him to a lit missile and later places him in a guillotine ready for decapitation. Though this isn't an incredibly scary short, the villain is extremely intimidating and menacing, making for some serious nightmare material for the younger ones. 9. Hyde and Go Tweet. In one of many Jekyll and Hyde inspired Looney Tunes, Tweety jumps into a jug of Hyde formula in an attempt to evade Sylvester. Emerging from the jug as a gigantic, frightening monster, the tables are turned as Tweety goes on the prey for the cat. This is a wildly hilarious later Looney Tune which sees the formula consistently wearing off as Tweety has to continually top up. While not overly frightening, the grotesque nature of the monster Tweety is enough to induce nightmares and solidify a place on this list. 8. Claws for Alarm. The second Porky and Sylvester horror team-up sees the pair pulling into a ghost town and checking into an abandoned hotel, haunted by all manner of creepy crawlies that attempt to murder Porky in a series of outlandish plots. As Porky is blissfully unaware to the goings-on, Sylvester, despite trying to save Porky, continually takes the blame in a series of hilarious yet unnerving gag sequences. It's certainly more comedy than horror, but it manages to get the balance perfectly well, with a few jump scares and a smattering of suspense, heightened by an art style infused with disconcerting German expressionism. 7. Transylvania 5000. Bugs Bunny, veering off the beaten path, finds himself enslaved in a gloomy castle, this time unknowingly at the bidding of vampire Count Bloodcount, who stalks him through imposing hallways with large cobwebs strewn between and slatherings of blood adorning the walls. Ever the ignorant imbecile, Bugs never once realizes he's in any kind of danger, unwittingly foiling the vampire's schemes every step of the way, with the audience left in suspense every step of the way. It's a classically funny Looney Tune, but is also filled with legitimate thrills, uncertainty, and disconcerting atmosphere. 6. Scaredy Cat. The first of the two Porky and Sylvester horror team-ups essentially takes on the same formula as Claws for Alarm, but instead sees the duo bunkered up in a haunted house filled with megalomaniac mice, hell-bent on slaughtering Porky. This one, however, ends with Porky being kidnapped, bound, and led to the slaughter, though Sylvester manages to save the day. Again, this one skirts the realms of comedy and horror, but manages to be marginally more frightening, with more violent and gruesome murder attempts and a terrific atmosphere, hallmarked by dark shadows, muted colours, and a gloomy setting. 5. Hairraising Hair. An evil scientist, in the form of a Peter Lorre caricature, uses a robotic female rabbit to lure Bugs Bunny to his castle lair, where he's locked in and offered up as food to the scientist's monster and henchman, Gossamer. As Bugs attempts to escape, classic Looney Tunes hilarity ensues. However, the menacing nature of Gossamer and the evil scientist injects the film with a true feeling of threat and suspense, while dark gothic imagery and German expressionist design makes for a visually stylish yet unnerving cartoon. 4. Life with Feathers. While not particularly scary, Life with Feathers is one of the darkest Looney Tunes ever, which sees a loveless lovebird contemplating suicide. Coming across Sylvester the cat, the lovebird devises multiple schemes in attempt to be eaten. Sylvester, however, convinced that the bird is trying to poison him, does all that he can to not eat the bird, despite a growing hunger. This short is filled with incredibly competent gag work from the masters of the medium, and is a rare example of truly dark black comedy in the Looney Tunes. However, due to this nature, it's a short that feels unfunny and simply depressing. 3. Pigs is Pigs. This short focuses on the insatiably hungry Piggy, who spends his days daydreaming about food. One dinner time, Piggy greedily eats everyone's meals. Going to bed on a full stomach, he's sent into a nightmare in which he's lured into a laboratory by a super creepy mad scientist, captured in a torture device, and helplessly force-fed endless supplies of food. While the mad doctor watches on laughing maniacally, Piggy grows bigger and bigger until he explodes. As it is all a dream, it ends on a light note, with Piggy happily shoveling down a hearty breakfast in the morning. While it doesn't have an incredibly unsettling atmosphere produced in Technicolor instead of black and white, it's a tune that defies expectations and continually spirals into completely unexpected and confronting territory for the series. 2. Fishtails. Porky goes fishing, and after a comedic opening, finds himself the unwitting victim of an anthropomorphic fish, right out of our worst nightmares. The fish reels Porky down into the deep depths of the sea and drags him home to the family for dinner. Mr. Fish slices off Porky's clothes, prepares him, and throws him in the oven, where he begins to swelter and boil. Luckily, Porky escapes, but soon finds himself at the behest of a gigantic octopus who gives him a violent spanking. Of course, this one turns out to be just a dream, but it's one of the most twisted dreams the Looney Tunes ever offered. And coming in as the #1 scariest Looney Tunes cartoon, The Case of the Stuttering Pig. A dark and stormy night kicks off this super creepy short. Lawyer Goodwill, a mild-mannered lawyer, visits Porky Pig and his siblings to inform them that their deceased uncle has left them his entire estate. Next in line to the fortune, Goodwill retreats to his secret laboratory, drinks a bottle of Jekyll and Hyde juice, and in a terrifying transformation sequence, turns into a grotesque monster, breaking the fourth wall to taunt and scream at the audience through a menacing soliloquy. The monster kidnaps Porky's siblings, imprisons them in stocks, then hunts down Porky, who manages to escape, free the pigs, and imprison the captor. Stuttering Pig makes incredible use of dark, shadowy gothic visuals and a haunting soundtrack to create a chilling atmosphere that harkens to the era's horror and mystery thriller films. It's incredibly dark for a Warner short, presenting disturbing imagery, very few laughs, and the Looney Tunes' most horrifying and frightening villain ever. And at that, it's over to you. I want to know, what do you consider the most scary Looney Tunes cartoon of all time? And which ones do you love to watch at Halloween? Fire away down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everyone, if you haven't yet, smash that big old subscribe button up on your screen to keep up to date with all my content, and hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month for exclusive videos, early access content, and to get your name up on the screen. Thanks again for watching.